Mia always had a flair for secrecy, living under the watchful eye of her overbearing parents. Every move she made was scrutinized. Her world felt small, boxed in by their strict rules, until she met Ethan, a charming artist with a rebellious streak. Ethan made her feel alive in ways her structured life never could. Their relationship began in whispers and stolen glances, but the risk of being caught always loomed. One evening, while sitting in Ethan's studio surrounded by his creations, Mia joked, "If only I could sneak you into my house." Ethan grinned mischievously and said, "Maybe I should disguise myself." The idea blossomed into something outrageous. Ethan had crafted oversized sculptures before. Why not make a giant teddy bear he could fit inside? The concept was ridiculous, but as they talked, it started feeling less like a joke and more like a daring plan. Over the next 2 weeks, Ethan worked on the bear, stitching it together piece by piece. It had glassy eyes, soft brown fur, and a zipper discreetly hidden along the back. When it was done, it looked like an ordinary, albeit massive, teddy bear. Mia smuggled the bear into her room under the pretense of it being a gift from an old friend. Her parents, who rarely entered her space, raised no suspicions. That night, with her heart racing, she unzipped the bear, and Ethan tumbled out, laughing quietly. "This is insane," she whispered, though she couldn't hide her smile. Over the next few weeks, Ethan became a regular, though secret, inhabitant of Mia's room. He only emerged at night, retreating to the bear whenever her parents were near. They spent hours talking, laughing, and sketching plans for a future beyond her parents' control. But secrets, no matter how carefully kept, have a way of unraveling. One evening, as Mia and Ethan sat together, they heard her mother's voice outside the door. Panicking, Ethan zipped himself into the bear just as her mother walked in. "What's that?" her mother asked, pointing to the bear. "A gift from a friend," Mia said, trying to sound casual. Her mother's eyes narrowed. "Looks a bit lumpy," she remarked, poking the bear's arm. Ethan barely stifled a grunt, and Mia's heart sank. Her mother tilted her head but didn't push further, leaving the room moments later. That night, they knew the situation was becoming too precarious. Ethan couldn't live like a fugitive stuffed in a bear, and Mia couldn't continue deceiving her parents. The next morning, Ethan left the bear for the last time. Before he climbed out her window, he said, "This isn't goodbye. We'll find a way, just not like this." Mia watched him disappear into the dawn, her heart aching but determined. The teddy bear remained in her room as a bittersweet reminder of their audacious love, a symbol of the lengths they were willing to go for one another. Little did she know, the story of the girl who hid her lover in a teddy bear would become an urban legend whispered about for years to come. As the days passed, Mia felt the void Ethan had left behind. The teddy bear sat in her room, a silent witness to the memories they had created. Though it no longer held Ethan, it seemed to hold a piece of their daring love story. Every time Mia glanced at it, she couldn't help but smile at the absurdity of what they had pulled off. Her parents, however, grew more suspicious. Her mother began asking questions about the bear, where it came from, why it was so large, and why Mia seemed oddly attached to it. Mia dismissed her concerns, but the unease lingered. One evening, as Mia was doing homework, she heard a commotion downstairs. Curious, she crept to the top of the staircase and saw her father holding the teddy bear, examining it closely. Her mother stood beside him, arms crossed. "It's just a stuffed animal, Dad," Mia called out, trying to sound casual as she descended the stairs. Her father's brow furrowed. "It doesn't feel like just stuffing in here," he said, squeezing the bear's arm. Panic shot through Mia. Ethan was gone, but had he left something behind? Her father reached for a seam and began tugging at the stitching. Desperate to stop him, Mia grabbed the bear. "You're ruining it," she protested, her voice a mix of anger and fear. Her mother intervened. "Mia, why are you so protective of this thing? What are you hiding?" Before Mia could respond, the bear ripped open at the back, revealing a hidden compartment Ethan had sewn in. Inside was a folded piece of paper and a small sketchbook. Her father pulled them out, confused. Mia's stomach dropped as he opened the notebook. The pages were filled with Ethan's drawings, of them together, and even of the teddy bear itself. Each sketch was accompanied by little notes about their secret nights together. Her mother's gasp was sharp. "Who is this boy?" she demanded, her voice trembling with a mix of anger and shock. Mia's father glared at her, waiting for an explanation. With nowhere to run and no more lies to hide behind, Mia took a deep breath. "His name is Ethan," she admitted. We love each other." The words hung in the air like a challenge. Her mother looked appalled, but her father's expression softened for a moment before hardening again. "Do you have any idea how dangerous this was? Sneaking someone into our house. Lying to us." Mia met his gaze, her voice steady. "I do, but you don't understand what it's like to feel trapped all the time. I couldn't breathe in this house, and Ethan, he gave me freedom." For a moment, the room was silent. Then her mother spoke, her voice icy. "This ends now. You will not see him again. Do you understand?" Mia's heart sank, but she nodded, knowing there was no winning this battle. Not yet. That night, Mia retrieved the sketchbook and the letter from her room. The letter was a note from Ethan. Asterisk Mia, if they ever find this, I want you to know one thing. You're stronger than you think. Don't let them cage you. I'll be waiting for the day you break free. Asterisk. Ethan. Tears welled in her eyes as she read his words. She wasn't sure how, but she knew Ethan was right. She had to find her own way, even if it meant leaving behind everything she'd ever known. Months later, after countless secret letters and hushed phone calls, Mia turned 18. On the day she left for college, she packed the teddy bear into her car. Her parents thought she was taking it as a sentimental keepsake. In truth, it was a symbol of her rebellion, a reminder of the love that had set her free. And as her car disappeared down the road, Ethan stood waiting for her in the distance, a wide smile on his face. Their story wasn't over. It was just beginning. Mia pulled the car over to the side of the road, where Ethan stood waiting, his familiar grin widening as she stepped out. The months apart had felt like an eternity, but now, seeing him again, everything fell back into place. "You actually did it," Ethan said, his voice filled with pride and relief. "I told you I would," Mia replied, a mixture of triumph and nervous excitement in her tone. She glanced back down the road, half expecting to see her parents' car in pursuit, but the horizon was empty. "We have to move fast, though. They won't give up easily." Ethan nodded and helped her load the rest of her things into his van. The teddy bear was the last item to go, and as Ethan hefted it into the back, he laughed. "This thing should be in a museum. The great smuggling bear of our love story." Mia chuckled, her tension easing for a moment. Let's hope it's the only one of its kind. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. Mia and Ethan settled into a small, run-down apartment in the city, far enough from her hometown to feel like a new world. For the first time, Mia felt what it was like to live without constant surveillance. She enrolled in art school, inspired by Ethan's work, and the two of them spent their days painting, dreaming, and building a life together. But freedom wasn't without its costs. Her parents called incessantly, leaving voicemails that swung between anger, guilt, and pleading. Though she ignored most of them, the weight of their disapproval lingered. She missed a family she had grown up with, but she couldn't go back. Not to the stifling rules, the constant judgment. Not to a life without Ethan. One evening, as they sat on the floor of their apartment sketching plans for a mural they hoped to paint together, there was a knock at the door. Mia's stomach dropped. They weren't expecting anyone. Ethan motioned for her to stay quiet as he approached the door. He peered through the peephole, then sighed with relief. "It's just a delivery guy," he whispered, opening the door. The man handed over a small package. Mia frowned as she read the label. It was from her parents. Inside the package was a note and a box containing a locket. The note read, Asterisk Mia, we may not understand your choices, but you are our daughter, and we love you. This locket belonged to your grandmother. We hope it reminds you of home, wherever you are. Asterisk. Love, Mom and Dad. Mia stared at the locket for a long time. It was a gesture of peace, but it also carried the weight of her parents' heartbreak. She held it in her hand, conflicted. What are you thinking? Ethan asked softly, noticing her hesitation. That maybe they're starting to let go, she said. Or maybe they're hoping I'll come back. Do you want to? Ethan's question was gentle but direct. Mia shook her head. Not now. Maybe someday, when they can see me for who I really am. Ethan smiled and wrapped his arms around her. Then we'll make this life everything you want it to be. One day, they'll see it too. Years later, Mia stood in an art gallery, admiring one of her own pieces, a vibrant mural that told the story of her escape, her love, and her journey to freedom. The gallery was bustling, filled with people admiring her work, but one familiar voice caught her attention. We're proud of you, Mia. She turned to see her parents standing there, older but softer, with a tentative smile on her mother's face. Mia felt tears sting her eyes. It had taken time, years of distance, letters, and careful rebuilding, but they had finally come to accept her. And in that moment, she realized the story of the teddy bear, of her and Ethan, wasn't just about rebellion. It was about love, messy, complicated, and transformative love that had reshaped her life and the lives of those around her. Ethan appeared at her side, squeezing her hand. Together, they faced her parents, the past behind them and the future wide open as Ethan and Mia stood together. Facing her parents, an unexpected warmth filled the space between them. Her father, who had always been stoic and firm, extended his hand to Ethan. It was a gesture that said more than words could convey. Ethan hesitated for a split second before taking it, and the handshake lingered, respect finally earned. We should have listened sooner, her father admitted. You've built something beautiful here, Mia. I can see now why you needed to leave. Her mother nodded, her voice softer than Mia had ever heard it. You've grown into someone we're so proud of, even if the path wasn't what we expected. Thank you for letting us be part of this. Mia's heart swelled. She knew it wasn't easy for them to say those words, just as it hadn't been easy for her to walk away. But seeing them here, amidst the artwork that told her story, was a sign that the bridges she once thought burned could still be rebuilt. Thank you for coming, Mia said, her voice trembling. It means more than you know. After the gallery closed for the evening, Mia, Ethan, and her parents lingered. They walked through the exhibit together, stopping at one particular piece, a massive canvas that depicted a girl sitting on the floor of her room, holding an oversized teddy bear. The bear loomed large, almost protective, while the girl gazed out of a window at a world she longed to reach. Her mother chuckled softly, brushing her fingers over the title card. Asterisk, hidden courage. Asterisk. So this is the bear, her mother said, a hint of amusement in her voice. The one you smuggled that boy into. That boy is now my husband, Mia replied with a grin, holding up her hand to show the simple silver band Ethan had given her 2 years ago. And yes, that's the bear. Her father laughed, a sound Mia hadn't heard in years. I'll never look at a teddy bear the same way again. Over the next few days, Mia and her parents continued to reconnect. They visited her studio, where she and Ethan worked side by side, and even helped prepare a small celebration for the mural project she and Ethan were starting in the heart of the city. For the first time in years, Mia felt as though she could have both her family and her independence, something she once thought impossible. Late one evening, after her parents had gone back to their hotel, Mia and Ethan sat on their balcony, the city lights stretching out before them. Ethan handed her a glass of wine, his expression content. Do you think they'll really accept everything now? He asked. Mia leaned her head on his shoulder, smiling. I think they already have. It's not perfect, but it's enough. They see me now, and that's all I ever wanted. Ethan kissed the top of her head. You're pretty incredible, you know that? She laughed softly. Took you long enough to figure that out years later. The teddy bear, worn, patched, and forever iconic, sat in the corner of a bright living room. It wasn't just a relic of their audacious love story, but a piece of family history that their two young children adored. One day, as their daughter climbed onto the bear's oversized lap, she looked up at her parents and asked, "Why do you keep this old bear? It's kind of funny looking." Ethan and Mia exchanged a glance, bursting into laughter. Ethan leaned down and whispered conspiratorially, "That bear? It once saved my life." Their daughter's eyes went wide with curiosity, and Mia smiled, knowing that one day they'd share the full story of the love, courage, and rebellion that had brought them to this moment. The legend of the teddy bear lived on, a testament to the risks they took for love and the life they built because of it.